Man, Jonas and Visma are really putting a lot of energy into this. And you know who's not putting as much energy into this? UAE. Mm-hmm. And then you look at the second half of the route and you think, would I really want to invest any excess energy outside of those stages? Because I know I'm the seconds guy. I'm always saying every second counts. You know, I understand in modern cycling, 10 seconds is a lot. But you look at those stages and you think, will 10, 12 seconds on stage 2 really matter? Probably not.
I think the same way as you say now.
Everybody, welcome back to the Move Plus. I'm Spencer Martin. I'm here with Johan Bruyneel. We are breaking down stage 4 of the Vuelta a España, won by Ben Turner over Jasper Philipsen and Edward Plankart. And after we break this down, we will preview tomorrow's stage 5, a critical team time trial that I'm actually quite interested to see. But just a quick primer on what happened during today's stage. We had mountains. If you looked at the profile, it kind of looked like a mountain stage, but it really was always going to be a sprint stage because we don't really see the mountains on TV. They cross the Alps like Hadrian. We don't see it. And then the breakaway's caught with 90K to go quite early. Mads Pedersen wins, pacing from Little Trek. And then Mads Pedersen wins the intermediate sprint, gets full 20 points. Ethan Vernon second, Julia Ciccone gets in fourth, and then I think David Gaudu's fifth, trying to get up there for those bonus seconds. That means Jasper Philipsen gets nothing. Coming into the finish, Ben Turner is positioned very far up by Mikhail Kwiatkowski from his Ineos teammate. It's a, I would say, unnecessarily hectic finish, and then with 500 meters to go, Mads Pedersen is in pretty good position. Alpecin goes left. Other teams go right. Ben Turner follows Alpecin. Mads Pedersen misses that move. He's immediately caught behind, already out of the race, basically. And then Ben Turner just kind of perfectly reads the road in the final few hundred meters, sprints ahead to win the stage over Philipsen, who's probably not at his best. I think it's Turner's second World Tour win in the last 30 days, but only his third pro win of his career. So he's definitely trending up. Other highlight of the day is David Gaudu finishes far enough in front of Jonas Vingegaard, not time-wise, just placing-wise. Since they're tied on time, then it pushes Gaudu's cumulative finish positions up high enough that he takes the race lead in France, which is probably significant for him. Jonas Vingegaard gets rid of the red jersey before the time trial. It's perfect for both parties. But Johan, what is your take of the day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you summed it up perfectly. Actually, before we start to talk about the race, I checked. Yesterday we said, there's 2 climbs at the beginning. Those climbs are really hard. It was Mont Genèvre, which is hard. I mean, from that side, it's a bit. And then the other climb, the second climb, is the Col du Lautaret, which is the beginning of the Galibier, actually. Because you go up the Col du Lautaret, and if you would take a right, that's like the Galibier, where last year Pogačar attacked in the Tour and dropped Jonas. So that's where they went up. So anyway, my take of the day, of course, I mean, it's Ben Turner win, but actually the story behind Ben Turner's win. I mean, I don't know if you've seen this, Spencer. Super, super interesting. He talked about it in the interview, but Ben Turner started the Rennes Tour. He was at the Rennes Tour. He was not supposed to ride the Vuelta. And on Friday, so Rennes Tour started, I guess, so was it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So so it was the third day in the Rennes Tour in the bus. One of the directors said, "Hey, we have an issue. Is Chris Harper on Ineos?"
Chris Harper's on Jayco, I believe, right?
Somebody. But I mean, I don't know who it was. There was somebody. It's a similar rider. No, it's not Chris Harper, because Chris Harper was the guy who won in the Giro, right? He won the stage in the Giro. Anyway, I don't remember who it was, but they said, well, this guy, he can't race the Vuelta. Who wants to go? And Ben Turner said, I want to go at the Rennes Tour on Friday.
Which overlaps with the Vuelta, by the way.
So instead of doing the stage on Friday, he abandoned the Rennes Tour, took a plane to Italy, and started the Vuelta on Saturday. and 4 days later he wins the stage. That's
Wow.
quite something.
Isn't the second time that's happened to Ineos this year? Do you remember earlier in the year they won a prologue at a stage race? I want to say Romandy with Sam Watson, and Sam Watson was flown in the night before.
Correct.
And then wins the stage. Yeah.
Correct.
So, something to that, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the story behind the victory of Ben Turner is my fact of the day.
Wow. It is a really impressive win. I mean, he won, if you were a real sicko and you're watching Tour of Poland, he wins stage 3 of the Tour of Poland. Impressive. It was a hard stage. He's not a sprinter. He's kind of I guess like a hilly one-day rider. But then even going all the way back to stage 12 of the Giro d'Italia this year, if you remember, Wout van Aert had this amazing lead out. Olaf Koy wins, Casper Van Houten second, Ben Turner was third. And I remember that stage thinking, wow, that's a pretty good bunch sprint result for Ben Turner. And then today he puts it all together. Like, this guy's been a big talent for a long time. He's 26 years old, only 3 wins. But if you think about it, like, he won this stage back in 2023. And I thought, wow, he's going to go on to win a lot. He goes dormant basically for 2 years. And now he's won 2 World Tour races within basically 20 days.
Yeah.
So very good run of form for Ben Turner.
So the rider Ben Turner is replacing is Lucas Hamilton.
Okay. Yeah.
So he was the guy. I mean, he was probably one of their, like the main support guys also for Egan Bernal. But that's quite impressive. I mean, it's also, takes a lot of courage from a guy like Ben Turner, who obviously he's been racing a lot now the last few weeks, I guess, Poland, Rennes, to say, hey, I want to go. I mean, it's a 3-week commitment. You have to decide in a split second. That's quite something. Not everybody would be ready to do that, or have the confidence to say, hey, I'm going.
The day before.
Yeah.
It's kind of an intense thing to commit to 24 hours before.
Yeah.
And so he was being let out by Mikhail Kwiatkowski, and then you said, I didn't see it, full disclosure, but you said after the stage that Kwiatkowski was incredibly emotional about it.
Yeah, I was surprised to see, Kwiatkowski was incredibly emotional. They interviewed him. Kwiatkowski he's won some big races in his career. He was world champion. He won Amstel Gold Race twice, I think. I think he won it twice. He won Milan-San Remo, stages at the Tour, world champion, and he was extremely emotional for a stage win in the Vuelta of a teammate. So obviously, we all know also Kwiatkowski comes back from a difficult season. I think he had a knee injury, which he had never had that kind of situation to deal with. And I could see already in Poland that he was, quite emotional. But it also shows, I think, the fact that Kwiatkowski had this, was so emotional. Ben Turner is obviously a guy who always gives it 100% for his teammates, and every single one of his teammates just wants to see Ben Turner win. And today was the proof. Seeing Kwiatkowski's interview after the finish was telling.
The funny thing about Ineos is, so the first 7 months of the season, they had 6 World Tour wins. Essentially, in the last month, they have 5. But they've been doing it. The big conversation about Ineos, like what we were talking about yesterday, it's like, who can they add? But it's really like couch cushion cash that they've been coasting on. Like Tymon Arnsman, who's been on the team for a long time, gets 2 wins at the 2 stages of the Tour. Ben Turner has 2 World Tour wins, and then Victor Langolotti. It's like these guys that have been there. I guess Langolotti's a new signing, but he was not a highly touted signing. Like it's just these people hiding in plain sight that are now kind of blossoming for the team. Like, what do you attribute that to?
Well, they just race differently. I think Ineos has been stuck into that pattern that they had, since, when would I say, since 2012, I would guess 2012, when Bradley Wiggins won the Tour de France for the first time for them, and then they had this series of wins in Grand Tours, and they had this pattern of racing. We control what we can control, and then our leader finishes it off. And they kept going like this, even when they didn't have that finisher anymore. And I think they made the switch. They made the switch. They raced differently. This is the whole season already that they race differently. And I mean, it pays off. They had some really good wins already this year, where in the past we've been critical of, saying, hey, what is Ineos doing? Why are they racing like this if they have nobody who can win the race or finish it off? So it's definitely a good change.
And it's been like that since like high end, back in early season. Like they just started the season fundamentally different than they have in the years past. The other big takeaway of the day, well, I guess here we should talk about the rider I picked, Mads Pedersen, just completely out of position. Second day that I don't want to say he's been like alone. I rewatched yesterday's finish and it's like, ooh, the fact that Ciccone is going for GC like kind of left him a little short-handed, perhaps. And then today he's like freelancing in the final few hundred meters when Philipsen still is a lead-out rider. Like what is going on with Little Trek in the last few hundred meters here?
I mean, look, if you look at today's stage, also, if you look at the top 10, there's not many sprinters there. I mean, there's not many sprinters. First of all, there's not many sprinters at this Vuelta. Let's start with this. But, like there's guys there that you wouldn't expect to be there. And I don't know. I mean, obviously Little Trek, they do a lot of work during the stage. So it's obviously difficult to have guys remaining in the final. But today was a stage where I think Pedersen had a chance. It's the fourth day, some kind of fatigue starts to settle in, But Spencer, I think the last time Pedersen did the Vuelta was 2022. When he won the points jersey. Pedersen didn't win his first stage until stage 13 in that Vuelta.
I did not know that.
It took him 13 stages to win his first stage, and then he won another stage, and then he had a couple of second places, but he didn't win until stage 13. So, there's still time. He's obviously a guy who he keeps his power when through the stage race while others fade away.
There's actually, I remember this because we recorded our outcomes from Munich, and he had 3 second places basically to start the race in the Netherlands, which is where that race started. Yeah, I had forgotten this. Yeah, that's a very good point, Johan. It's almost like Wout van Aert. He almost reminds me of Wout van Aert right now. He can like start Grand Tours a little slow in terms of stage wins, and then it's like once the engine gets turning over, it's impossible to stop him. Only thing is on points classification. So Pedersen takes the lead today because he picks up max points at the intermediate sprint, still a decent amount of points at the finish, like 15 points at the finish. He's leading Ethan Vernon by 2 points. The problem here is 5th place, Jonas Vingegaard, 65 points. And I looked at the second half of this race. It's not like the Tour where the sprint points are at the beginning. Like you're going to have to get very deep into these mountain stages to score sprint points. So it could be that Jonas Vingegaard is walking into a points jersey at this Vuelta, or at least he's going to be difficult to stop. Maybe Pedersen is up to the challenge.
I think, we've talked about that yesterday, Spencer, when we tried to find an explanation of why Jonas was sprinting. And, we said, maybe he wants to go for the points jersey or thinking back on that statement, I just can't imagine Jonas Vingegaard making it an objective at the start of the race. If he wins the points jersey, it's going to come to him. I can't see him going after it already now. That's just ridiculous.
Well, even looking back, it's more confusing because even after yesterday's stage, I was thinking, that's kind of weird that Jonas was sprinting for the finish, because if he finishes further back, David Gaudu takes the race lead. Jonas goes into the time trial without the leader's jersey, which is everybody's goal, because it's just physically faster. And I guess it's nice not to have the leader's jersey. You get to go home early. Who doesn't want to go home? But
well, I think Spencer, I think that our theory about the skin suits and stuff, we've been debating about it during the Tour also. I just think they don't care. And plus for a team time trial, it's not as important as for an individual time trial, because you're in the bubble of the team. I just don't think that's the reason. Today, obviously, we saw that Gaudu is in red jersey now. I am pretty confident that that's even a pre-arranged conversation they had with Vingegaard saying, "Hey, you know what? I'm not interested. I'm going to sit back. Just make sure you're in the front." And that, because they were on the same time, right? So it was whoever had the better placings, as long as there's enough spaces in between. I think that's a conversation that happened at the start of the stage, or even before, or even yesterday at the warm down, the cool down on the rollers. Just because Vingegaard just didn't want to do podium today, didn't want to do the interviews. I think it's highly likely he has it back tomorrow. So it's just one day.
Yeah.
But that's something that it was, just for the listeners, this, it may be difficult to understand. This was prearranged. Gaudu knew, because he had for sure a conversation with Vingegaard, at least in the stage, that Jonas would not be up there in the finish. And as long as Gaudu was up there and there was 5, 10, 15 places in between, he would have the leader's jersey, which is great for Gaudu. Red jersey in a Grand Tour in France. It's a good morale booster.
Yeah, it's like a win-win too, because like I said, then Jonas gets to go home right after the stage. Doesn't have to stay for the podium. I would want to do that. So I would say, yeah, sounds great. Take the red jersey. Someone commented during the tour. I thought it was a pretty good comment on one of our videos, and it was like, well, how can these behind the scenes deals be allowed if they're taking money? Because I bet the bet of the day that we didn't do, that I'm kicking myself for, is Gaudu over Vingegaard head to head, because it was probably always going to happen this way. If you knew that deal, if you're privy to that information, you would have had a massive advantage. But I don't really have an answer for that person. I don't know. It's just an oddity of pro cycling. I guess that outcomes get fixed behind the scenes, and then they still take money on it. And if you know that, that's a huge advantage. My advice would be try to figure that out before the event happens.
Yeah. And another thing, Spencer, I wanted to get your opinion on, the sprint itself, right? So we have at some point Alpecin, we already knew they had the strongest lead out here. And so they had, I don't know who it was, but anyway, the last guy was Edward Planckaert to lead out Jasper Philipsen. It looked like, it was basically a walk in the park. 3 guys from Alpecin, Philipsen in 3rd position, then gets in 2nd position. And something went wrong, in my opinion. And also listening to the interview of Jasper. He was quite upfront saying that, he doesn't have the super legs that he should have to win these sprints. But, he already won a stage. Today he's 2nd, so his legs are not that bad. But it seemed to me like there was a miscommunication. Edward Planckaert was leading it out on the left side of the road, but he went to the left with Philipsen on the left side of his wheel.
Yeah.
And on top of that, the road was bending a little bit. So, Philipsen said that he was trying to shout at Planckaert, but, it was so noisy with the people that Planckaert, and it's true. Especially with 100, 150 meters to go, you hear nothing, right? It's so loud that you hear nothing. So, how did you see it go wrong for Alpecin?
Yeah, well, we should also say we looked at it on Google Maps yesterday, and I thought that is kind of a weird road that they're finishing on. And if you looked at the way the barriers are set up, they're going all over the place, even in the final straightaway, like drifting left, right. And I thought Ben Turner got a peek out because he was sitting a little further out of the pace line, the slipstream, and I think he could see it bending a bit. And it's almost like he followed Alpecin. They're on the left side of the barriers, and it starts to go right. And Ben Turner just jumps before anyone else does. And he jumps right into open space. And as you said, Philipsen's almost pinned against the barrier by his own lead out rider. And it's in that moment, especially on a slight uphill, if Ben Turner gets a gap, you're not going to close that gap on him. So I do kind of wonder. The narrative right now is, well, Philipsen, he's just not fit. That's why he's losing this. So it's like, well, he's really only had one flat sprint and he won it. And then he gets jumped today by Ben Turner, like a very astute heads up Ben Turner. And even a very fit Philipsen's going to have a hard time correcting that mistake if he's essentially pinned into the barrier by his own rider. Like if Plankart pulls out right, then it kind of pushes Turner so he doesn't have as good of a straight of a line, and then Philipsen can sprint. But
I think
some of
it
just comes down to the weirdness of the finish.
What's that?
Some of it comes down to just the weird, like who is anticipating the barriers just to be going left, right? Like they're just going.
Well,
all over
they know. I mean, listen, the riders know. They have all the information. They have, they see it on VeloViewer. Plus, they have people scouting, and they have people up front. So whatever is not visible on VeloViewer, of course, it always looks different when the race has the setup and the barriers and the finishing arch and stuff like that. But they know.
When do those get set up, Johan?
What's that?
Like when do those get set up? Like morning of?
Yeah, the morning off. Yeah.
The
morning off. Yeah. But no, I mean, it would be. I mean, of course, it's easy to say, right, when we're sitting here behind our screen. What Plankart should have done is just stay in them, that there was room on both sides, and then basically Philipsen can decide, right, whether he goes left or right. If the lead out is sprinting on the left side of the barriers and keeping it close, there's only one way to go for Philipsen. It's to the right side. You could say, well, who made the mistake? Is it the lead out guy? Is it Philipsen who was on the wrong side of the wheel? It's we won't know. But I think bottom line is that Turner is on great form and that Philipsen is good, but not super.
Yeah. Well, Plankart would probably say he was on the wrong side of the wheel and there was wide open space he should have sprinted into, just like Ben Turner. I would just guess that's what Plankart would say. Yeah. Maybe Philipsen has a different read on it, but I guess that's something, as you say.
I mean, Philipsen said, that was his explanation, but it was not like he was pissed off or angry with his teammate. I mean, these things do happen, right? I mean, it's so fast. Everything is so, in a split second that there's, communication doesn't get anywhere. You can there's nothing you can do. I mean, that's why sprints are always so unpredictable. You can say, well, Alpecin Phoenix or Alpecin de Koning, they have the strongest lead out train. Philipsen is the strongest sprinter. How can this go wrong? And it almost always goes wrong, right?
Yeah, I mean, you have to come up with a plan before you're in the final 100 meters too, because as you say, like if you stand on the side of these roads, you can't hear anything. Like there's no way they could hear each other. Just another quick note before we go on. Not Quinn Simmons. Sean Quinn was in the breakaway today, American on EF. We were talking, it just reminded me, we were talking yesterday about Derek G potentially leaving to go to Ineos. And I remembered this morning, I was like, I ran into Sean Quinn in 2020. I think it was 2024. He was doing his pre-tour training camp in Boulder, like by himself.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was thinking, well, if you're on Ineos or you're on Visma, you're on UAE, you're probably not setting up your own pre-tour altitude camp and then crashing on a friend's couch. So just to give people an illustration of maybe some of the infrastructure differences behind the scenes at these teams.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, that may be one of the reasons also why Derek G is considering, leaving. Although I do think that Israel Premier Tech, they do invest quite a bit in training camps and stuff. But anyway, we won't know. And I think we spent enough time on it yesterday. We will now wait to see how it pans out, right? Before we talk about tomorrow's stage, Spencer, I have a question from a good friend of mine from the UAE who is watching the race, a big cycling fan, good friend of mine. And he asked if we could, ask this question on the podcast. And his question is, obviously Visma is performing really well. UAE came with a strong team, but we haven't seen any results of them yet. And he's asking himself the question if they are saving themselves for the tougher stages later on. What do you think?
Everybody, this episode is brought to you by Rouge at Ready. Guys, you've probably heard of Vigra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. Well, are you looking for something beyond the usual pill? If so, meet Rouge at Ready. Other companies rely on similar ingredients to support blood flow, but Rouge at Ready is a next-gen prescription treatment designed to help amplify arousal in the brain and increase blood flow. Its 3-in-1 formula dissolves under your tongue to absorb fast, so you'll be ready in just 15 minutes on average, not hours, and effects can last up to 36 hours. That means you can stay confident, present, and in control when the moment is right. Getting started is simple. Rouge connects you with a board-certified doctor 100% online, and if prescribed, your treatment ships directly to your door. Connect today with the provider at rougiet.com/themove to see if a Rouge at Ready prescription is right for you. You can use code THEMOVE to get 15% off today. That's RUGIET.com/themove and use promo code THEMOVE to get 15% off today. And if you use that code, they know that we sent you so you can support the show. Individual results may vary with prescription treatment. Compounded drugs are permitted to be prescribed under federal law, but are not FDA approved and do not undergo FDA safety, effectiveness, or manufacturing review. Please visit the Rouge website for full safety information. I love that this guy's concerned about it, but I actually was thinking about this too. I think part of the reason we're not seeing them is because they're on the limit of their technical skill. I think these have been fast, tricky finishes of stages. This is not built for Juan Ayuso and Joao Almeida. Maybe they're slightly undercooked. We don't really know. We'll find out in the coming days. I was thinking yesterday, I was putting my newsletter together, that man, Jonas and Visma are really putting a lot of energy into this. And you know who's not putting as much energy into this? UAE. Mm-hmm. And then you look at the second half of the route and you think, would I really want to invest any excess energy outside of those stages? Because I know I'm the seconds guy. I'm always saying every second counts. You know, I understand in modern cycling, 10 seconds is a lot. But you look at those stages and you think, will 10, 12 seconds on stage 2 really matter? Probably not.
I think the same way as you say now. I think there's not much to gain. They're not losing anything. I mean, except, those 10 seconds from the stage win of Jonas, but they're not losing anything. And they're just biding their time. They have a strong team. They're looking at it the first week. Okay. I mean, obviously tomorrow they have to go full gas because it's the team time trial, and that's real time, right? But other than that, I'm not overly worried about UAE not being, it's not that they're not visible. They're not up there in the top rankings for the moment in the stage wins. But I can assure my friend from Dubai that they are biding their time and they're going to come to the forefront when it really matters.
Well, do you know who they remind me of? Actually, it's Jonas Vingegaard at the 2022-2023 Tour de France. Like, his strategy was always sit back, let like a fish on the line, like let Pogačar run wild through the first 10 stages, and I'm going to pull him back in the second half. So it's very strange to see this flipped now. I don't quite know what to make of it.
Well, I think, as we said before, I think Jonas has great legs. He just wants, the stage win was important for the morale, but he'll start riding also conservatively now because, we haven't seen nothing in this Vuelta. If you look at those stages and those mountaintop finishes, there are some of them, some of them we know, like Angliru and Bola del Mundo, but there's some others that are not famous but are unbelievably hard. And so I'm not worried about UAE not having the top results right now.
Yeah, I had I had a moment of panic after stage 2, and then I've been thinking they've actually, because they're not participating in these destructive efforts that does kind of concern me with what we have left. But let's take a quick ad break and then we will preview stage 5. Hey everybody, this episode is brought to you by Fabric by Gerber Life. Running a household can be a lot, especially with kids. That is why having a family plan in place can help wrangle the chaos, especially if you want to protect your family's financial future in case something unexpected happens to you. And this is where Fabric can help. Fabric by Gerber Life is a term life insurance you can get done today. It's made for busy parents like myself, and it's all online on your own schedule, right from your couch. You could be covered in under 10 minutes with no health exam required. And if you've got kids, I know I think about this all the time. I worry, what would my family do if I, let's say, expired earlier than I expected? And if you're young and healthy, youngish, healthy-ish like myself, it's time to lock in those low rates right now. Even if you have life insurance through your employer, it may not offer enough protection for your family, and it may not follow you if you leave your job. I know this is something I ran into where I thought I was covered. I checked the life insurance through my employer. It was not nearly enough. And that's why I shopped around for a term life insurance policy. And that's why Fabric has partnered with Gerber Life, trusted by millions of families like yours for over 50 years. There's no risk. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can cancel at any time. They have over 1,900 five-star reviews on Trustpilot with a rating of excellent. And they also have free digital wills, tools to invest in your kid's future, and more, all right from your phone. Just not even on this ad. Make sure you get your will in order. That's something that's very easy to put off. So just get the term life insurance while you're doing the will. Join thousands of parents who trust Fabric to help protect their family. Apply today in just minutes at meetfabric.com/themove. That's meet, like MEET, fabric.com/themove, MEET, fabric.com/themove. Policies issued by Western Southern Life Insurance Company, not available in certain states. Prices subject to underwriting and health questions. All right, back to the show. So, Johan, tomorrow's stage 5. It's a short one. It's only, how many kilometers is it? It is only
24.
I want to say 24 kilometers. And so it's flat, like with the whole team, they're going to fly through it. It's a team time trial. We don't know what that is. The whole team starts. They take the time from the 4th place rider. So the first 4 that finish, that's the time for everyone in that group of 4. If you finish behind the 4, you're not on that time. So your GC contender has to be in there. I will list off the favorites, and then we will predict who's going to win. The favorite is Team Visma Lisa Bike, plus 150. Actually, lower odds than I thought. UAE Team Emirates, plus 200. Ineos Grenadiers, plus 250. And then it falls off. Little Trek, plus 1,800. Groupama FDJ, plus 2,200. It goes on and on. But Johan, who do you think is going to win this team time trial?
Yeah, I think the books have it right. It's between those 3 teams. It's Visma and UAE and Ineos. They're the strongest teams quality-wise. They have experience with those kind of exercises. I'm going to take Visma as my favorite. They have a super strong team. You know, they have Jonas, they have Kampenaerts, they have Jorgensen, they have Van Baarle is there, no Van Baarle. I mean, they have such strong riders. They are 1 rider down already, so you know Axel Zingle has abandoned, but they still have 7 riders. Yeah, I mean that could be a bit of a disadvantage. Not so much actually, 7 or 8. It doesn't really. I mean, it's every time there's a rotation, there's an extra 15, 20 seconds. You could recover more, but I don't think that's going to matter that much. We're not going to see big differences. We're not going to see big time differences between those 3 teams. But I'm going to pick Visma Lisa Bike to win the stage tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not a bad pick, especially since I believe there's only been 1 team time trial in a World Tour race this year. Paris-Nice, stage 3, they won it over Jayco, Red Bull. It's a little different because the time was taken from just the first rider. So slightly different rules, but UAE was further back, 42 seconds back. The year before at Paris-Nice, UAE wins the team time trial. So I think we're correct to think it's between these 2 teams. They're very strong. They have great time trialists. And the big advantage of both Visma and UAE is their GC riders are also top time trialists. So they don't have to nurse them along or wait for them. And like with UAE, you have Almeida, Ayuso, both really good time trialists. And then you only need 2 other riders with them. Everyone else can be burned through on course. Whereas like Ineos can't do that because, I mean, Bernal's a good time trialist, so he's not Almeida good. He's not Jonas Vingegaard good. I'm going to pick UAE, little bit better price, plus 200. And I mean, I think if you spread your money, you could actually bet on both of them and make a profit no matter who wins.
And then Ineos comes and wins the team time trial.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's exactly what would happen. Is Ineos would win it, but I'm going to go UAE just because they have the full suite of riders. I think.
Yeah,
it's going to be close. I think that could make the difference.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, what type of time gaps do you think we're going to see here? 24K with the team time trial. They're going to go about 60 kilometers an hour, right?
Between 15 and 30 seconds between the top teams, I think.
Yeah, which is funny to think that the gap on this time trial could be similar to the gap on the stage 2 uphill finishes between first and fourth place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think what hurts is, if we look at actually Gaudu will probably be in decent shape, right? Because he has Stefan Kuhn on his FDJ team. Very good time trialist. But you look at like Tom Pidcock on Q36.5, like they could take a bit of a beating on this one. I feel
they will.
Yeah. And then, even Ben O'Connor on Jayco, I'm curious to see how they perform.
Yeah. Well, Jayco usually does well in deep time trials. I mean, they have a good track record so far.
Well, earlier this year, they were second in that Paris-Nice one.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
I mean, I guess you're right. They always tend to, I guess that was their calling card for a long time.
Yeah.
They were a team time trialing team. Well, anything else, Johan, you want to share on the stage?
No, nothing else I can think of, Spencer.
We're in Spain, I guess we should say. First stage in Spain.
Tomorrow we're in Spain, and we will leave Spain pretty soon again to Andorra.
I know.
But I mean, I think you can consider Andorra part of Spain. I mean, I always consider it. It's independent, but it's part of Spain.
Your cell phone coverage may disagree.
That's true. Yeah, if you ever go, and another thing, if you ever go to Andorra with roaming from another country, please turn it off because they're going to kill you. Yeah. They're going to kill you on the rates.
Someone has a yacht in Monaco based on that specific business. Just fools going into Andorra and racking up roaming fees. But we will take off and we'll be back tomorrow to break down the team time trial and then predict stage 7, which is a true summit finish in Andorra.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Johan.
Thanks.
Bye.